Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mayday Roleplay's Vegas by Night Origin Sessions. More content revolving around our newest Vampire the Masquerade campaign and the coterie members that exist within it. Today, of course, we have Zakiya with us, which I am so excited about. Zakiya, if you want to say hello, thank you so much for being here.
Yes, hello. I'm so excited. It's going to get weird.
It is indeed going to get weird, so very scary. The good thing is I can't actually kill you here, not yet, because by some stroke of luck you're alive in the actual show, which for now. I mean, give it a couple episodes and I'm sure you'll Vince out like the rest of them. But for now, you are alive, you are well, and you are with us. So this is really just a series we put together to get you closer to the members of the new generation, of the coterie that is existing within our game Vegas by Night, which is still streaming bi-weekly on our Twitch channel at 10 o'clock in the morning. And we'll be going through a 15-episode run with that coterie before ending Arc 1 and taking a little break. But we're rounding that out. We're nearly at 10 episodes now of Vegas by Night, and we want to give you some further insight into those characters, especially into Sybil, who has been so incredible so far. The coterie's leader, their new brain, now that the humanity stored in the beanie is taking a little vacation.
Yeah, no pressure.
And really the only Camarilla faithful, I would say. The rest of them are starting to see the light, but I think Zach and Sybil are the only ones that really understand how good the tower can be to you. Right. Which I personally, I'm fully with you. The tower is so important to everything we do. I've always been a tower player. It's very important.
It's good. The Camarilla's actually never done anything wrong.
No, not intentionally. And anything that did go wrong was a result of Anarchs to begin with. And it was really just retaliation. So.
Right. So you read the book.
Yeah. So I did get my blood pack. I wanted everyone to know that I'm no longer upset. And that I have one now, so I don't have to bitch so much. I filled mine with Vitae because as an elder, I need to keep that shit going. But without further ado, now that I'm done bragging about my blood bag, I think it's about time we got started. That's the phrase I wanted to say. It's about time we got started. We're going to walk Sybil through all this. We're going to get a little closer look. So, Sybil, Zakiya, it is Las Vegas, late in the evening, in these United States of America, on these modern kindred nights, that you find yourself about 3 weeks before you originally met the coterie, and about 4 weeks before a very illustrious warehouse in Colorado was assaulted by the Second Inquisition, and the lives of the new generation was made. You are before it all, before the awareness of the others, before any Hawaiian shirt wearing, katana wielding madmen entered your life.
Yes.
And you are living through your day-to-day. You are the only true local amongst the coterie. Sybil has been here their whole life. Local-born, Las Vegas native that understands the importance of the Strip, but also detests it with every fiber of their being, like every good Las Vegas native. And you have found yourself in the place you call home, in both lives, both human and undead. In the kindred nights, you've begun to see a new perspective to the city of Neon and the city of Meadows. Tonight, you find yourself on shift for your new position, your newest place of power, which is in the most illustrious position you can have in Las Vegas, and that is as a member of the Circus shuttle family, driving the shuttle from the airport to Circus through the Las Vegas Strip and picking up stragglers to drive between those three locations, essentially. Driving a literal clown car. tonight, you have much more in store for yourself. But for now, do you want to just describe what Sybil's day-to-day is like up until that moment with the coterie? What has your life been like as a kindred, as a circus driver? How does she feel about where she is and what comes next? Just give us a little insight.
Yeah, I will say being referred to as a member of the Shuttle family hurts. Just me and Sybil are both in pain at that sound.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly dissatisfying, despite all of the supernatural hype of being embraced. Her life is very much wake up, drive, come back home, sleep, wake up, drive. It's bad. Driving a shuttle in this life is not good.
I mean, you're really living this dichotomy of the shuttle is either completely silent or a mobile Waffle House. I can't imagine the experiences are very enjoyable. Well, how has Sybil found her profession?
I think in the beginning, because she came from this corporate job, she was like, I'm going to use this as a chance to network. I'm going to see if I can read people really fast. It'll be an opportunity to grow. And then it quickly became what it really was, which was just chaos. So she is taking every moment she can when the bus is empty to just collect herself and remind herself that this is necessary. There's no other place for her to go. She doesn't understand enough about the world, honestly about either worlds, to be able to move forward alone. So she's kind of stuck here.
Right. Now, does she feel kindred? Do you engage in kindred afterlife? Is there a hunt? Is there the use of those disciplines? Do you employ that power anywhere? Or does this feel like a holding pattern?
It feels like, I think she still feels like she's in that waiting room hallway space. That maybe since becoming embraced, it's moving a little bit forward in a really long line. Technically things have changed, but not really. She's aware that she can do more, just the sensory experience of being a kindred is more, but she doesn't know exactly what those limits are yet. So I think it's just above seeing how much power she has in her voice. Not really much beyond that. Well,
tonight you find yourself in that same waiting room that is the clown car circus shuttle, which transports some of the most low-budget staying visitors to Las Vegas to the Mecca that is the Circus Casino, which in its heyday was actually a very popular destination on the Strip and used to be an illustrious location, but has since found its position as one of the most affordable stays in the city. The sort of place where you can get the $20 special, staying in a room that matches cockroaches to number of guests equally, or at least an exponential number. But tonight, you find yourself in that shuttle alone, in that lovely solitude, that has become a facet of every day of your life. It is something that only the undead feel, only a kindred feels, when the quiet of the soul is there, with the understanding that inside of that van, not only is it empty, it's devoid of soul, of life, of heart, of blood. The only thing inside of this vehicle is a shell of who you used to be, and somehow that grants some level of peace, so long as it's not backtracked by Will.i.am.
It often is.
Yes, it often is. Almost on request. That and shots featuring LMFAO.
Yes.
You've been tasked tonight with dropping off the last few stragglers from your shuttle at McCarran Airport. But you're about 15 minutes away from this shift ending for good and becoming what you affectionately refer to as the third shift, which is when your job truly transfers into something that you could call profitable, that you could call good for your social equity. because in 15 minutes for every other shuttle driver, it would be up to them to drive back to garage and to turn in their shuttles for the night, clock out, and go home. But for you, and for some of the Circus execs that have spoke with you through managers, there is a different protocol, one that, for whatever reason, Circus is okay with. You'll continue to drive, and you'll create a sort of annex possibility with the stratosphere and its workings, a midnighter shift. But tonight, as a part of that midnight shift, you have been instructed to pick up an individual named Alphonse, who is being stashed at the McCarran Airport and is landing in for a visit to Las Vegas tonight. And even more unusual, you have been instructed to deliver him directly to Ladislav, the Harpy of Las Vegas, who also runs the underground city, the circulatory system that runs blood in and out of every single pore of this city. You have been given the unique, unusual opportunity to hand him over directly, one of which that provides opportunity, but also questions as to who this individual is. You're parked in the large parking structure in McCarran Airport, just off of where the planes come landing in, and you can already hear them sort of expunging jet fuel through the air and engaging landing gear as they come down. And it is almost calming to hear the rumble throughout the parking structure as you sit alone in your shuttle. Is there anything that Sybil is doing here to prepare themselves as they sort of transition?
Yeah, I think they have a couple of what is it, the affirmations? Like they have a list of affirmations that they have been curating for years, that they still, bring up when they need to. And it's nothing especially creative or unique. It's just I own this, I'm in charge. Everything I say changes the universe, that kind of thing. Except it's very much half-assed because it doesn't look like everything she says changes the universe. But she still recites it.
Good. You catch your own eyes in the portion of the mirror that sits over the shuttle itself as you're whispering these words to you, and they ring hollow. They always have, at least since what happened to you. But there is something ritualistic in the Tony Robbins rememberings of motivation that has long died. It's almost like reading old prayers as an atheist. There is an understanding that there is power to those words, but they're not your powers.
Right.
You understand that you're here to meet Alphonse in the central gate. You've been given his number that he'll be coming out of, and the location that he'll be coming down. Your types do not exactly arrive with luggage. In fact, you have an understanding through a loose connection, a man named Santos who runs with the Camarilla, who's in charge of McCarran Airport. He's told you in the past that sometimes there are more unlikely arrivals. And apparently Alphonse will be one of those. Do we all hear that car right now?
Yeah.
Beautiful. Wait for it.
It felt like an arrival, though.
Yeah, I think Alphonse's plane is here. Jeez. It's really happening tonight, folks. Happy Sunday. Las Vegas is feeling it.
Sybil drives a little fast. I'll accept that.
Maybe Sergio will cut all of this out, and then it'll be a nice little smash cut to me that looks perfectly synced, like none of this ringing car happened.
Okay.
It'll be just fine.
Interesting.
Yeah. You'd think the car be done by now. It's not done. I worry that it's my van right now. Hold on. Okay. Well, let's try and keep going, I guess. Should I? I don't know.
If you think it's your car, we should...
Oh, we're good. Golden. Okay. You've been instructed that Alphonse is going to be one of those unusual arrivals. He'll be coming in through his gate, no luggage, just himself. There's no guarantee that he was even on the plane. You've understood ever since you've become what you are that it's very difficult for us to travel, for a kindred to arrive, to pass through the sun at any uncertain turns is a danger. And to do so in a small metal tube in the sky is even more dangerous. So you have an understanding that anyone they bring through McCarran is extremely important to the cause. If you have earned the right to come in through the air, or at least to be organized through Santos, then you're a player and someone to be recognized. Is there any plan here?
I don't know anything about Alphonse, do I? Other than Alphonse.
You've been told the name. You've been given the sign. Think like those limo drivers who will stand outside of gates with the printed names on them for the rich folk. Outside of that, you were told that he was to speak with Ladislav directly, and they had business. So outside of the fact that he knows the Harpy, or is meant to meet the Harpy, that's big news. Okay. Big news for you. You're rubbing elbows here.
Okay. Then I think, yeah, she just readjust her entire attitude, her entire demeanor. I mean, she still very much looks like a driver, but she's the most professional. And stands outside, door open, just ready, does not want this man to wait a single second.
Gotcha. Go ahead and make a wits plus awareness for me as we're waiting for these individuals to walk out from their gates as you're hoping to find your individual. You're hoping that he comes in the Dracula's cloak and announces himself right in front of you.
For some reason. Where's my... Okay, yes. Perfect. Find my awareness score. That's 3 successes.
Okay. With 3 successes, you're waiting for maybe 15 minutes, and at the height of that 15 minutes, you become acutely aware that someone is standing to your right, maybe a few feet, 3 feet to the side of you, and is staring in the same direction as you at the people leaving their gates.
Okay. She, without drawing too much attention, just asks, "Are you Alphonse?"
Yeah. Who are we waiting for? And he looks up towards the gate itself. You can see this individual. He's dressed in such a way as to draw attention to himself. He's wearing black overalls over big shit kicker boots, a cropped sweater over a striped undershirt, and some round-lensed eyeglasses. And this is all covered up by this asymmetrical long car coat. He has these big dreads that are bundled up into a half updo. And there's this beautiful gold jewelry that's been woven through the hairs. Think almost like necklaces that have been unclasped and then let to hang a little free from his hair itself. Mm-hmm. And he looks over at you with these brilliant gold eyes. Shining in the light. If this was an individual to walk down the center of the street, he'd either draw every eye on the street itself, or someone would stop, grab him by the shoulder, and stake him right there. He's a very ethereal-looking individual, and it's almost as though he knows it.
Oh, we were we're waiting for you. Do you have a preference? Usually they sit in the back, but you can sit in the front.
If you want me to sit in the back, I'll sit in the back. And he starts to load himself into the shuttle with a little more than that. As he's moving himself into the shuttle, the asymmetrical coat does reveal that on his side hip he has something like a submachine gun holstered into his side there. And it looks like he's pretty well rigged with weapons as far as you can see with those 3 successes on the wits and awareness.
Can I try to sense the beast on this person?
Sure. What sort of information are you looking for with sense the beast? What do you want to know?
I know it won't exactly tell me, like, clan, but I do want to know, like, everyone has, like, a I'm about to fuck shit up attitude, and it's different. Like, is this his I'm gonna fuck shit up attitude, or is he actually relaxed?
He is maybe one of the most relaxed individuals you've ever met in your life, both living and dead. He is this sort of, like, slouch in everything that he does. He is completely at ease. Sees no threat whatsoever in this situation. Sensing the beast, if you're looking for, like, flavoring of what you could guess, like, you're a gangrel. There is a certain smell to each different beast, and you have an understanding that that betrays itself to kindred as well. You know for a fact he's kindred. This is something you've never smelled before, though. This is something you haven't seen in your time.
Okay. If he doesn't have anything to load into the car, then I will just close the door, get in, and start driving. But I will ask, is that gun just something you keep on you, or should I be aware?
Well, I keep it on me to kill individuals, if that's your question.
Yes.
Sometimes people do things that go against what I want. And it's traditional in this country that I just sort of end their lives.
No, that's clear. But you know,
do you want me to take it out?
No. You don't have to do that. I'm just wondering.
Are you sure? Because I can.
No, you don't have to. I just wanted to know what kind of drive this was going to be.
I think that's up to the driver. And he goes and he sits in the back and he props his 2 feet up onto another seat and then fully sprays his arms against that back seat, taking up as much space as he can. And those big old shit kickers that look dirty, muddy in the treads, like he's been somewhere he shouldn't be. Does not seem to care so much about dirtying up the circus shuttle, though.
Okay, that's fine. I guess it's not my money.
Yeah. It's probably not any dirtier than it was 5 minutes ago.
Yeah.
And there is sort of like a permanent smell of tobacco and weed in this shuttle that you've tried so many different methods. Like you've been through like the 50 different 5-minute cleaning hack videos and none of it's worked so far. It is just permanent at this point.
Okay. As we're driving, I think she's just going to get the most basic driver question out of the way and ask, so what brings you to Vegas exactly, if I can ask?
Here to see the sights. Always wanted to see the neon.
Really?
Yeah. I'm a big believer in big lights. Or did you want the real answer?
I did want the real answer, but I mean, that's cute. I enjoy it. It's okay. I mean, it's protocol. It's a part of the script, but I mean, Vladislav wants to see you. You came in on a plane. I feel like should I be starstruck?
I mean, I guess that's up to you, huh? And he flashes his eyes in the mirror to meet yours.
I don't know. I haven't seen anything, I don't know, starstruck worthy yet, other than the gun, I guess.
Do you want to?
If you don't bust up my car, yeah.
Well, we could park it before it happens.
If we have time. He's gonna pull over. So I want to know what this is. What is this, man?
He walks up, like picks himself up, and in the moment that he picks himself up in the shuttle, you're starting to realize his height. It's maybe 6'5". Real built individual too. Looks like he takes care of his body, or at least he did before he died, because of course we can only look as we did at the moment that we died. But he moves himself up that shuttle, and you can feel sort of the shakes in the car as he's pushing himself up there, and he sits on the front row seat, sort of think like first seat in the public bus, where he's on the right side of you so he can see you, props up his leg to the other side. He says, before we show off and get starstruck. Who are you?
Oh, you can call me Sybil. That's it.
It's good to meet you, Sybil. I'm Alphonse.
I know.
You been in the city long?
Oh, I'm from here. Been here maybe too long now.
So then you know where all the lights are.
I do. And where they aren't. I can't get a beat on you. It's giving. There's Portland in the middle, but then there's something else happening on the edges here. I don't really know. But then you said the United States, so are you from here?
I'm here.
That's a kindred thing to say. Okay.
Sybil, how'd you die? He looks completely nonplussed by the question. Like it was as simple as asking you if he's from here.
That was fast. That's complicated. I think I misspoke. I definitely did the wrong thing at the wrong time.
What'd you say?
No.
That will get you killed.
Yeah. Messed up with the wrong people. But, that's fine. That was forever ago. Maybe.
Forever ago, and now they got you driving this? And he sort of points off to where there's like a happy clown facing right next to all the top 10 places you can get drunk in Las Vegas. The Circus slot guides and the coupons along the side.
Yeah, I had a better gig, but the, Have you heard of somebody named Teresa?
No, but to be honest with you, that's a name that probably happens everywhere in this place.
Yeah. Well, the person that would have been able to stop all this, and she like hits the clown, disappeared. I don't know where they are. So until then, I'm here with you, which isn't so bad.
I get it. Mommy's out on parole, huh?
Yeah. It was weird when you say it like that, but yeah.
Just try to keep it simple.
So you asked me a very, very personal question.
I did.
What do you want with Slow? Or what would Slow want with you?
Slow wants me to work for him. Because, and he slaps the submachine gun at his side. Because I do that real well. But I think he also wants to know why I'm in town.
So he didn't fly you in, you just came here?
I'm here for a party. A reunion.
Like a... What do you mean? Reunion?
Families getting together. And I'm invited. And, you know, when family calls for the big dinner, and you don't show up, all the cousins start talking.
I don't have to show up for my clan as much as others might. So I don't actually know what that's like.
Let me put it this way. You're their clown car. I'm their clown car.
Oh.
We're in the same place, you and I.
Oh. Oh, then I'm sorry.
It's not so bad. I earned mine.
Doing what?
What I wanted.
With your gun?
Yeah. Among other things. Listen, you said you wanted to be starstruck, huh?
Yeah.
How long does that Ladislav guy wait?
For me, he doesn't. But for you...
Say he wrote out a little invitation and wrote it in cursive. What does that buy me?
He wrote it by hand in cursive. I'd say we got about 15 minutes to see something good.
There's a place. I got the address. And he takes out this old Nokia like brick phone, like one of those you throw it at a person, they die from the sheer impact. And he hands it to you, and it's reading out in the sort of green and black text the address itself. I like detours, and this is a detour. There's some, I don't know your word for it. They're thin. Not quite.
Like thin bloods?
Curse generation, yeah. And they're cooking something they shouldn't.
For you.
Not for me. But you and I, if we go in there and we do what we're going to do, afterwards, I'll split whatever we make 50-50.
Outside of the circ.
Nothing to do with them. Just you and I.
I think she just starts following the directions to this address. Especially if she already has an idea of what part of town that is, she just starts driving in that direction.
Okay.
Okay. Detour it is.
Are there any questions for Alphonse along the way? Is it a mostly silent drive? Do we put on some Will I Am to ease the tension?
We put on real music. No, just kidding. We do put on music, but it's a lot less party. Or at least end of the night on the way back from the club music.
Okay.
I think she's just studying his reactions to everything that they see. I mean, they're going through the main part of Vegas, so there's just...
He does treat himself like a visitor or like someone seeing a place for the first time. It's very subtle, but he's a lot looser than most kindred you've met. He's employing a sort of genuine curiosity for where he is. You do notice that he doesn't blink very much. Those gold eyes stay open for nearly the whole time that you met him, and at times it can feel disconcerting. At times it almost feels predatory. But in a way that feels challenging, not deadly. And every so often, he'll press his face in against the glass of the Circus window and stare up at the strip as you're driving through. You actually drive past the Stratosphere, sort of betraying Ladislav in person as you both fly by. But every so often, when he's not looking at the window, he is looking at you through the little mirror you have over your dash.
Do you have an opinion on all of this as they drive past the Stratosphere, the Camarilla, all of that?
I like to say that I walk the fence. I'm where I'm needed. I don't think anybody's got it right, not even my people, but I do like the Camarilla. They pay well. What about you?
Well, that's a weird sentence, but I guess I was raised Camarilla. It works. Well, it works enough. I don't think the Anarchs are doing it right either. But
the Anarchs don't have you driving a circus van.
Yeah. But you can see your way to the top with the Camarilla. I'd like to say there's no games, but it's all one game. But at least it makes sense.
That's what you want, is the top?
That's the only that's the only place it's quiet.
And you learned all that from Teresa.
Yeah. Being raised Camarilla.
Okay. Maybe you'll sell me.
That would be good. Well, if we work out this deal and it goes well, it would be nice to have you around.
I'll keep that in mind. You can hold yourself in a fight. I don't need to hold you.
No.
No. Good.
Not unless you want to.
Oh. Okay. You guys pull into the parking lot of what is essentially like a it is half rundown like mercantile businesses. I think like liquor stores and like old furniture appliance stores that have run out of business. And it is a section of suburbia that has greatly suffered in comparison to the Strip. And the address itself is a set of like apartment tenements that are right next to poor houses that are built into the back of these mercantile places. And it pulls into the parking lot that is adjacent, basically across the street from the actual address itself, which is like essentially like a meth den, you'd guess, from the amount of disrepair it's been through. The house itself has fallen apart. The door is loose on its hinges. There's a place where the chain link fencing that surrounds the property itself has been ditched in, like a drunk driver took it out. The pole itself on the street, warning that children are at play, is also dented in from someone taking a swing in at it. And it does not look like a very nice neighborhood, but it does look like a 2-3 story house, maybe 2.5, with an attic location, and it looks as though it has a long backyard that runs all the way up to some of those mercantile businesses. Maybe you could fit quite a few people in this place like this. Outside, by the door on the sort of concrete patio that there is, are 2 individuals who are smoking these joints on the corner of the patio itself, right underneath this like big blue bug zapper that is still like stinging off of the mosquitoes and locusts and different things that are flitting about. And they are just sort of looking out into the darkness. They do not seem to be on the offensive or anything like that, but it does look like they maybe have a baseball bat behind them, leaned up against the wall. And it does look like there's some level of music and light coming in from the living room, as though maybe they're having a party or something. But he stops and he points, he says, it's inside that house, and there's a few bags of it. They keep little... and he gestures almost about the size of like the Ziploc baggie you'd sell cocaine in, little pouches. We need to find everything that they have product-wise. It will look like, it'll look like ashes.
Are we about to steal ashes?
It's complicated. They make a drug with them, and a lot of people don't like that drug. Give me 1 second. I have to find the actual name for it. In the street, they call it dust, but when we consume, it can grant visions.
Oh.
So some don't like the sale. It's close to consumption, diablerie.
And we're about to have a bunch of it.
I'm about to have a bunch of it. You and I are going to get paid. I'm going to take that back to my employer.
Who is?
I can't say. Part of the stars you're struck by.
Okay. That was me. I did ask for that. Okay.
We could just go back to Ladislav if you're wary about not knowing who you work for. Or you could just say you work for me. Whatever writes you off your taxes.
I'll work for you. Till we get back in the car.
Well, maybe in the car too.
Maybe.
Okay. He picks himself up. He takes off the asymmetrical coat, and you can now see that on the other side of his hip, he has this long machete-type blade. It is a long, flat blade that he keeps open carry. It's not even in the full scabbard. It's on full display. You have a feeling that this is just how Alphonse walks around every day, whether it's an open carry state or not. It's also very clear that he has two 9mm pistol grades that are tucked into these long, like jogger pants that he has off the side, that he's rigged into these flat buttons, basically. He looks to you and he says, do you shoot?
Not usually. No. I don't have to use guns as much driving.
Okay. Good. I'll keep mine then. And he starts to walk out the door and he turns back to you. He says, do you want to go about this anyway? Something about you reads a little high-strung. Maybe you want to lead?
I do have some questions. What does this going badly look like to you?
If the police become involved.
That's it.
I don't see this as a situation where you and I are challenged much whatsoever.
Okay. And there's one person that we are getting this from.
And as he's having this conversation with you, he's taking out that submachine gun, which then unfolds into this sort of mini, like brace against his shoulder. And then he plucks into his pocket and takes out this long suppressor barrel that he starts to apply onto the end. And it is very much like he has done this a million times, cold operator, as he's continuing his conversation. What was your question again? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I will say Sybil is trying very hard to seem like this is normal. Like this whole, ever since she saw Alphonse, it's been like, of course I know what this is. This is fine. This is good.
Right.
But sirens from the moment she saw him. Right. So we are looking for one person to get this dust from.
It's going to be in the room. My thought is there has to be a cook. The way that the Thin do it, it is a sort of witchcraft, like alchemy. They contort their blood in with ingredient to create something physical. Most of them are capable of doing so, but it is the extent at which they are talented enough to create. Dust is among one of the hardest things to make. So perhaps we're looking for whoever is most in charge, but any will do that have the baggies.
Right. Okay, then she walks in confidently.
Okay, so you're walking up to this place. He's walking fully behind you. At this point, he's not making any attempts to hide himself. He knows for a fact that he's a 6'5", 250-pound large man, and is making no attempts to, rush for the bushes or run off the alleyway on the side. And he has that submachine gun up to his chest, essentially. And as you're walking forward, the other two that are smoking that joint on the corner of the patio, they pick themselves up and they move into frame and stare at the two of you. And one of them moves back to grab that baseball bat. Is there anything you'd like to say to them? Is this an all-out brawl, or are you going immediately for them? What's the plan here?
I think she's going to give it one good college try of, it would be better for both of you to just let us through. Does that seem like something we can do?
Okay. You look directly head on. You throw this at them. They look confused as all hell as to how anyone could say something like that and, sound normal. I think this to me is probably an intimidation, right?
Yeah.
Let's go intimidation plus manipulation.
Okay. Let's go. Crit.
Ooh, incredible. Oh, shit. Okay. Okay, so we've at least got 4 successes, right?
Wait, that's almost like okay, so I rolled a 3 dice pool and all 3 of them were successes. That might not be what a crit is it?
That is like the most success you can get. The crit would be 2 10s.
Okay, good. Then that is not a crit, but
okay, but it is
maximum successes.
Maximum success for your situation here, and 3 successes is more than enough to put the fear of God into these 2, especially as the one that grabs the bat immediately goes to prep it into his hands to get ready for a swing, and then clocks Alphonse walking behind you, who is sporting that, remarkable gun in the center of his chest, and then he realizes almost immediately. He throws down the bat. The one in the center says, "Look, we don't want no fucking trouble. Sylvie said it was okay. It was no big deal. Listen, you can go through. Yeah. We're okay by Judas, okay? Yeah, you with Judas?
Listen. Don't worry about where we're from. It's gonna be fine. You made the right choice."
Okay. Yeah, okay. And he looks back to his friend who had dropped the bat and he says, "We need to get the fuck out of here, dude." And they start running like full force into the lawn there. And as they make way for the grass, Alphonse turns around, takes a 3/4 quarter stance, and pops both of them back in the back of their head. They explode in the shower of blood and fall to the floor. But do not necessarily die. It's clear that they're thin-blooded. He moves up, and immediately, lightning fast, he pulls from his side these 2 stakes and stakes them immediately there on the grass. And he looks back to you and says, "You're good inside? I can take care of these 2?"
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. She, I think there's a moment before they do that when she hears the gunshots that the whole facade falls. And in that second between the facade falling and him speaking, she has enough time to put herself back together, but yikes.
He eyes you with those gold irises and meets you for a moment, and there is this stark silence as he holds your gaze, and he says, "You're not getting squeamish, are you?"
No.
Good. And he pops 2 more bullets into them, and then begins to slug them back onto each shoulder as he gestures for you into the house. Remember the baggies.
Baggies. Got it. And goes forward looking for baggies. But also, if the whole thing is a den, I guess she's following her nose for like the most blood smell.
Okay.
Kindred blood smell.
Okay, so you're looking for the smell of Vitae. Yeah. I love that. Let's get intelligence plus awareness, because you know the distinct difference. If you have anything in Auspex or anything that might assist this in finding Vitae, you're welcome to use them as well.
I see. Not yet.
Okay.
Because I've got all the later shit she bought.
If you would like to use your later shit, I'm okay with that. Let's just use Sybil where she is. Yeah.
Okay. Then I think she'll activate Eyes of the Beast, which doesn't necessarily mean like better Vitae, but that does mean she can see in darkness and has increased intimidation pool.
What does that look like for Sybil as she engages with that other half of herself and the gangrel begins to take over?
I think she, in a very like cinematic way, walks into like a shadow, and instead of her whole figure disappearing into the shadow, her eyes stay red, or they stay glowing, and when she walks out, it's I don't know how to describe it. It's a little bit more predatory, a little bit more intense when she reaches the other side of the shadow.
So as Gold goes to take those two corpses around the side of the house, Red enters the threshold.
Yeah.
And standing there in the shadow of this new room, you have stairs running up to the second floor and then a balcony that runs into the other rooms itself. You have a hallway that runs forward through to like a kitchen area and then a door itself to the backyard. And then on the left-hand side, you're met into like a foyer or a living room, basically, where there are these this L couch against the two windows that look out on the world. And there are two individuals that look absolutely high out of their fucking minds on the couches themselves. One of which is a girl that looks to be maybe 19 years old, ratty, like waterlogged hair, smeared makeup, and just young beyond her years, rail thin, and she seems to be almost seizing in some sort of trip herself. And then another man on the opposite couch, who is a little more in control of his experience, but the second that you step in, he like retreats back onto the couch, looking at you like you're a fucking monster as the glow of red starts to trail off your eyes, and you see through him in this infrared blood vision and can make out his shape in the darkness, even against the glow of the TV playing over both of them. Is there anything you'd like to do with these two individuals or the rest of the house? There's also a room out and to the right, but that door is shut.
Do I hear anything behind the shut door? Because I think I'm going to go to the kitchen, but if there's ruckus, I'll check that.
Go ahead and give me a wits and awareness.
Wits. Ooh. Two successes.
You hear the beating of someone's heart on the other side, and it is panicked. You dial in and you can almost picture the man's heart inside of his chest, but it is beating far faster than it should, and it is immediately against the door to your right.
I think she's going to look to the two in the room, the living room across from her, and kick down the door.
Okay. Absolutely. Let me get a strength plus brawl as you fucking obliterate this door.
Strength brawl. Responsible. 1, 2. Another 2 successes.
Okay, 2 successes. You absolutely break a portion of that door down. The entire thing doesn't come off of its hinges, but it is enough to carve, a like basketball-sized hole out of the door itself. And you can see that you've sent the man on the other side flying back, and the shotgun that was primed against the door shoots off into the sky as this blast of pellets shoot into the second floor. It was very clear that he was ready to gun down whoever was on the other side, as apparently he was aware of what's happened out on the front lawn. But you've sent him to the floor. He's panicking. He's running for that shotgun. What's the next action here?
I'm going to try to grab him, separate him from the gun, and push him against the wall.
Okay, so you're rushing through the door. You're getting to him before he can get to that gun. You're pushing him up. Go ahead and give me let's get athletics, or no. We'll do dexterity plus brawl. How quickly can you get to him?
Brawl. 4 successes.
4 successes. It is lightning fast. With his 2 successes, it doesn't even matter. That margin of 2 prevents him from any opportunity to get to that gun. You have him. What does this look like as you descend on him?
She has him pushed up against the wall, and is searching for for these bags at the same time. I think she's like, he's not the most important thing right now. She's thinking and looking. And over him, just like panic shouting is like, we're looking for bags. Where are the bags?
He's struggling to breathe under your grasp. He's grabbing at you.
Little lower. Bags.
There's one in the desk right there, and he gestures over, and you can see it sitting right there on this sort of broken down, like old IKEA desk that's been here for too long, and it's filled with these newspaper clippings and old rotting food and just different viscera, but in amongst what is like an old like diner chicken dinner is a little Ziploc baggie with, like, no doubt must be someone's ashes. It looks exactly like cremated remains, but there are these flecks of like red shining metal, almost like the sheen of glitter, but farther so, and they look solid in amongst the dust itself, and it makes the entire bag take on this iridescent red quality.
Gross. Okay. Yeah, she's gonna say, while he's there, if it doesn't, I'm scared it is a trap. Yeah, no, then go get it. Go get it. And she eases up a little bit, but stands between him and the gun.
Okay, so you're in between him and the gun. He's moving to get the dust for you, right?
Yeah, which is away from the door, right?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So think door behind you, shotgun behind you, him in front, desk past him.
Yeah.
So he turns about once you've let him go. He's staring you the whole time. He doesn't even give you his back as he starts to backpedal against the desk, and then his hands are viciously moving against all of those materials to try and find the baggie without taking his eyes off of you. And then immediately he holds it out to you with his hands, breathing heavy. He can barely keep himself up. You can see that his eyes have dilated completely. He's completely in fear of you. Even without a sense of the beast, you can tell this one's mortal.
Mm-hmm. She takes it and punches him out.
Okay.
I don't think she's going to kill him.
All
Just
right.
knocks him out.
Crack him in the face. It does not take much. You can see his jaw breaks the second that your fist connects with him, and the knuckles break through, and he begins to bleed from the side of his mouth. And he is connected down to the ground. You probably broke his nose in conjunction as well as you swiped through with that big hook. He's knocked out, though.
Pockets the bag, goes back towards the living room. Are the people still there? Are the two still there?
Yes. So, well, rather, the woman is still there. The man is missing.
Okay. Okay. I think the front door is covered, so she's going to go towards the back because there's only one exit so far.
Okay. So you're moving through the down hallway into like the kitchen area and the door to the backyard.
Yeah.
Okay. You make it in, and go ahead and give me a wits and awareness the second that you get into that kitchen.
Wits, awareness. 1, 2, 3, 5 successes.
5 successes. Oh my God. Yeah, there is an individual behind a kitchen island off to the left of you, covered in all of this garbage and trash, hiding his form as he is crouched down below, but you can hear his breathing off the side as he's prepping himself to bust over the side and pump you full of whatever firearm he has ready. But he's on your left.
Okay. On my left. Okay, then she will... I think she's just gonna go in hard and fast, and he's ducked under the counter.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, she's gonna just vampiric speed over the counter and try to, like, pull him on the other side.
Love that. Okay, give me a dexterity plus athletics to see if you can get to him before he has an opportunity to shoot against you.
2 successes.
2 successes. He has No successes. So absolutely you beat him to it. You rush over. There's a push of all that garbage off of the island itself, and you pick up over, and you already have his coat by the time he even has enough realization that you're there. You have him. What's next?
Bags. Now.
As you got him by the coat and everything, you asked that question of him. It's not even a moment for him to respond. He takes that 9mm he still has, and he desperately tries to shoot it between you, not even answering you. He's going to make a firearms roll against you. He has 3 successes, so give me an athletics plus dexterity since you're with him. If you can beat 3 successes, you take no damage.
Oh, okay. Okay, I had a dice pool of 3. I rolled a crit and a 1, so it's 5 successes.
Oh shit! Okay, yeah. So 5 successes come out. You have an opportunity to end his life if you would like to. As he shoots wild, the 9mm again goes into the 2nd floor. As more firearms are going off inside of this house, huge amount of noise as that clock pulls off. There's now been a shotgun and a pistol fired in this area, but you have complete control. In fact, an arm-wrenching control on his wrist. You can do whatever you want with this guy.
I think she squeezes the wrist so he doesn't use it again. And if I know that he did try to kill me, which is a problem. Yeah. So she's going to she's gonna kill him. She's gonna pick him up and drop him again. Just like one last, and that's it.
Beautiful. You crunch his wrist so much so that it sounds like the breaking of chicken bones underneath as you destroy everything that was his hand. If he was to live after this, he would never use it again. But unfortunately, he is at the mercy of you, and you have none to spare. You pick him up, and there is a vicious backbreaker on the kitchen island itself, as you can feel him crack like a glow stick across the back of his being, and the vertebrae at the center of his back just completely obliterates as you end his life, and that crack of blood rushing throughout the body sends him to the ground, and he's twitching as he leaves this world.
She looks around.
Looking around, there is another individual that has come through the backyard door itself and has a shotgun, this pump action level, that is readied against you, ready to rock, and he's going to loose a bullet in your direction. He has 2 successes. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus athletics to get yourself out the way.
That's 1 success.
Okay, so you have a margin of 1 as you're blasted back for 3 superficial damage, and you land back against the island in the same way that your last enemy did, and you can feel the pellets start to form inside of your body. The way that a kindred works, unfortunately, is that your fast healing works so exceptionally well that the skin begins to form before the bullets are even truly removed from yourself. So you're aware of the foreign objects that are sitting like pellets inside of your body. And you're staring at this individual. Before any retaliation is made, from behind him, you can see as the machete pierces through his back and out his rib cage, as Alphonse makes himself known, and the individual drops his shotgun immediately, and that man falls to the floor. Alphonse reaches down and picks up that blade immediately and sheaths it back into that little frog at his hip belt. And he sort of looks at you with this blank expression that suggests, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, she just nods.
He picks up 1 baggie from the side in one of his jogger pockets and sort of dances it in the air in front of you. I have 1.
She takes out her 1 to show even.
Okay, so we'll call this equal right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're cooking upstairs.
I'll go. Maybe I'll go first, and then. Okay.
You're in the lead.
Good. And she. Oh, there's someone in the living room. You might be aware of that.
Okay.
I don't know. This is your thing. Do what you want with it. And she starts heading upstairs.
Okay. He actually moves back into the backyard and sort of disappears from view as you're moving back down that hallway. You round about and you come up the stairs itself. Is there any plan as you round up to that second balcony? Part of that balcony is visible. There's no one standing on that balcony itself, but it diverts into two pathways on the left and right. It seems as though one is the master bedroom and bathroom, and then on the other side are two guest rooms.
I think she's going to go towards the master bedroom. Just thinking about how messy this has been so far. Big bathroom's probably where the cooking is.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just going to go in. Actually, do I have something to help? Maybe less findable. Yeah, she's gonna... Well, no, never mind. Because Cloak of Shadows you have to be still for. No, she's just gonna walk in.
Beautiful. Okay, so moving into the bathroom itself, back to the master bedroom as you open that bathroom door, you find that you're absolutely correct. Inside, in the bathtub itself, content warning for body horror here, inside of the bathroom itself, in the tub, is a corpse of an individual that has been opened at the ribs and then sort of excavated from the stomach. And inside is this sort of medicinal basin that someone has pressed into that. And there is a hefty amount of what looks like ashes and that red iridescent material sitting inside of that basin inside of this man's body. And then off the side in the sink itself are these various flasks and materials that you're unfamiliar with. Some are including like biological material, like maybe someone's eyeballs. And the others are full of like green fluids and all sorts of different alchemical reagents here. And the smell is like, it's like a homemade mustard gas. The smell is terrible, chemical inside of this room, but it is laced with this smell of vitae, blood, and then human remains. It is all circling into this disgusting miasma of scent in your brain. You do find that there is a massive amount of the ingredients to create dust, just to make this clear. But it also looks like there is 2 finished pouches on the sink itself, ready to go.
Okay, she pockets those. And I think if the room feels empty, she's going to use the Eyes of the Beast to the like seeing in darkness part, just to make sure that it's actually empty.
Yeah, it does not seem as though anyone is in the bathroom, but as you're picking up those pouches and sort of excavating the room of all the things that you can take from it, you do hear the familiar rattle of gunfire coming from the master bedroom as what must be maybe assault rifle bullets pierce through into the bathroom and threaten to shoot you from the inside of that doorway. So, let's see. We have 4 successes. So give me a dexterity and athletics as you can feel the hairs on your neck prick up as those assault rifle bullets begin to cascade through the door.
That is 1 success.
Unfortunately, that means you are going to take 5 superficial damage as you are riddled through Sybil's uniform across her chest, and these huge bullets, these 505 rounds that are just caving through to the other side. And you can feel that unique understanding that the bullet has exited out your back. Probably something that few people actually live to understand, this emptiness, this full hole that runs through the body. And you can see where the master bedroom door has now been riddled with more of those bullets itself. It must have been where it came from.
Okay. Yeah. That's upsetting. She immediately starts stomping into the bedroom to find the source of the gunshots.
Got it. All right. How are you opening this door? Are you rushing through? Are you breaking it down like you did the last one? Are you trying to stealth your way through?
I think she opens the door and pushes it open so it just creaks in this dissatisfying no one is there. And then she calmly steps through and looks towards the person with the gun.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going through, as you enter in, you're uniquely aware that another round is being fired through at your entrance, but you do at least get a look at what's happening here. There are two individuals primed with assault rifles, and then another that has this obscure, like rum bottle almost, that has been removed of label, and the tip of the bottle itself is beginning to break away from some sort of gaseous mixture that is up towards the top and is corroding away the glass of the bottle, essentially. But that is the last glimpse you get before there's another just racketing sound of what you imagine is maybe a Kalashnikov or an AK-47 that is just ripping bullets in your direction. As they succeed with 3 successes. Go ahead and give me a dexterity plus athletics or a dexterity brawl if you're going after one of them to see if you can neglect some of this damage.
I'm definitely going to try to shut that down as quick as possible.
Okay. If you meet a 3, you'll take no damage. If you exceed a 3, I'll allow that margin to hurt them.
That's 2 successes.
2 successes. So you will only take, I think that's 3 superficial damage, if I'm doing that correctly. I can't remember what I said last, but 3 superficial damage on top of, I think I think that takes you to like 8 superficial damage or something like that. We're probably around there.
Now at 11. I took 3, then 5, then another 3.
Okay, so you are now sitting at 1 aggravated, or no, right? 1 aggravated damage and like 6 superficial or something like that. Who knows? But we've taken something.
See, I'm gonna check while you're going. I will make sure.
Yeah. So that second round starts to pop off. You manage to get the first one who riled through you with those rounds, and as you're on top of them, the male individual with the flask itself begins to prime itself up and goes to throw that at you.
Okay.
I'm wondering, so I'll give you an opportunity here. You can either drop the grab that you have on the first individual and dodge out of the way of this flask that's coming your way, or you can stay with the grab and deal damage to him on your next attack.
I think she's going to dodge the flask, because that it's giving Molotov cocktail. That's not a good tone.
Okay, so he has... fuck all. He's actually going to expend some willpower to make that better. He has 3 successes. So if you can make a dexterity plus athletics to get yourself out of the way of whatever the fuck that is, all you have to do is beat 3 successes and it does not hit you.
Dex plus athletics. Yeah. That's 2 successes.
Okay, you can expend willpower if you'd like to re-roll that last one to avoid whatever the fuck this is going to do to you.
I would like that a lot.
Okay, I agree.
Yes, okay, that's 5 successes.
Oh shit,
that gave me the crit. That was the crit I wanted.
We love a crit. With 5 successes, you manage to roll out of your way, but at the last second in that grab, you pull the other individual just in line of the flask itself. As the flask explodes on his chest, he begins to bat away at what becomes almost like a living fire that sits across his being, and he begins to bat it off, shrieking, terrified for his life. He must be some level of kindred, even if it is thin, because you have seen this primordial fear, and that is of the fire touching the skin. It is not legitimate fire, but it has the same reviled feeling as it begins to burn through like an acid, like a gas through his body. It is, if you're asking in the direction of archangels, this does not resemble anything we've seen in the stream itself. This is a different burning. Maybe you could warrant with some investigation on whether it's an early version of it, but who knows? Maybe I'm giving you hints. Maybe I'm giving you nothing. Either way, this man is burning alive from whatever that is that's starting to eat away at his chest as you roll out of the way. I'll give you your action. What do you want to do here?
If one of them is already on fire, then I would just like to end the person that threw the bottle.
Beautiful.
Yeah, just charge them and shake them.
Are we pulling out any spooky doopy stunts here, or are we just good old-fashioned fight?
Oh, you know what? She has talons.
Yeah.
I think if she's still holding on to the dude that's like patting himself or still like very close, she's going to throw him to the side and kick the person, but kick with talons. So they almost like anchor them to her and then kick them off.
Love that. Okay, go ahead and give me brawl plus strength and then whatever your talons does for you.
Okay.
I think it may just add to the damage total. I'm not sure if it helps in the actual hitting of things.
I don't think so. +2 to superficial damage. Oh, and a rouse check. That's it.
Okay. So you might get a little hungry.
Okay, let's rouse. Cool on the rouse check.
Good.
You said brawl and what else?
Brawl and strength.
Oh, good. Okay. That's... gonna spend a willpower.
Okay.
To re-roll one of them. Perfect. 2 successes.
Okay. 2 successes. Give me 1 second. Okay. So he is going to make a half-assed response to that. But dodging out of the way does not go well for him. He gets no successes. He's going to take the full 2 plus the 2 superficial, so 4 superficial damage to him as he is violently hurt against this attack on him. You manage to rend through him. What does this look like?
It looks like she probably has like corporate flats on that are immediately obliterated as these nails like pierce through. And at first it just looks like she's going to kick him into the wall, but it's also this like I'm learning my abilities moment where when she tries to shake him loose, she realizes that her nails are still stuck in his chest, and the force that kills him is her just like shockingly like shaking him off.
Got it. Okay, you send him back and he collides against the wall there. He looks severely hurt. He might still be alive. But he is dazed, confused from the experience. And as you pluck yourself through the blood, or vitae rather, dripping from your fingertips, it is clear that Alphonse has made an entrance as the window from behind one of those assault rifled individuals cascades into the shatter of glass, and that tall 6'5" individual just rolls into frame from this massive leap into the room, and he is going to make a firearms roll against one of those assault rifle individuals. And they are going to take a massive amount of damage as he peppers this mortal individual with that submachine gun from behind, and it riddles out the body all the way, lining up from the hips through to the skull as that man falls to the floor dead. And Alphonse, without even thinking, slugs another magazine into his rifle, or submachine gun rather, and points that in the direction of the other assault rifle. The other assault rifle is going to take a shot at you, realizing you're the one that is hurt here and insulting whatever version of a boss they have there. And with 3 successes, you'll have an opportunity to dodge out of the way if you can. Give me a dexterity plus athletics.
Come on. No. It's a 1 success.
Okay, so you'll take 4 superficial damage on top of what you've already had, as another huge riddle of bullets comes through your back as you're shot, as you're dealing with the other individual.
Okay.
The potion maker, the thin blood underneath you that has just had a hole in his chest excavated by your hands there, picks himself up, dusts him off, and goes to this sort of like full-on experimental science table of sorts, where it looks as though they were maybe cooking traditional drugs, or maybe they were experimenting with something with all of this thin blood alchemy, but reaches in and takes another one of those flasks. As you can see, it's giving off those same breaths of chemical from the rim itself. He pulls back and he goes to toss it in your direction again. And fails everything. He's going to use a willpower to get 3 more. And it's just not his night. With 1 success, that's all you need to dodge. If you could give me a dexterity and athletics.
Come on, man. Yes, got it. Just the 1.
Okay. Very good. You are safe against these 2. It is now your turn.
All right, so Sybil's gotten hurt pretty bad, and there is a beautiful explosion of fire around her, it sounds like, from the mist. Great. So this illuminates something not right about Sybil. I think she's been trying really hard to make this not happen, but there's like... It's not just like a serious look on her face. It's not just her eyes being red, but it looks like bone has shifted towards the center of her face. Like, it's not a beak, but it's getting towards that way.
Right.
And she immediately goes for the throat of the person that shot her, with the intention of ripping their throat out with her teeth.
Okay, to the assault rifle individual. Go ahead and give us strength plus brawl with that extra 2 superficial damage.
I'm gonna spend a willpower because I just made that sound really cool. Cute. Okay, that's 3 successes.
3 successes, absolutely. Let's see if he's in any position to save himself. Not much. So he has 1 success, making a margin of 2, plus your additional 2 superficial damage. How do you want to end this man's life?
She just fully wraps her, like, almost, it almost unhinges, wraps her jaw around his throat and rips out. You
remove the man's hyoid bone. Everything that comes into his neck is just free from his body, and the jugular begins to spray before you remove everything that he is. He is beyond dead. And finally, moving to Alphonse there, he moves over and he is going to remove that blade again and go immediately for the thin blood that's left over. And with 5 successes, I do not think the thin blood's going to do so well. Let's see. Thin Blood has 1 success with a margin of 4, so that puts him at taking a severe amount of damage, and he rears back and the machete goes immediately for his neck and severs the head from the man's body as the two of you in this raucous display of blood and fire remove 2 individuals from the neck up and end any life outside of the envisioned drug addict down on the first floor couch and have effectively emptied this home. Alphonse reaches down and picks up the head from the corpse as it begins to decay into the corpse it should be. This individual being a Thin Blood itself. Alphonse holds that disembodied head up to his own and watches as that Thin Blood begins to decay and return to the point at which it died. And Alphonse has almost like a morbid obsession with it as he starts to trace some of the wrinkles that begin to appear and then fleck off and then free from this being's head. And you can tell that as this is happening, he begins to almost speak to himself underneath a whisper as that kindred begins to fade away before his eyes.
Can I try to hear what he's saying?
Sure. Give me a wits plus awareness.
Wits, awareness. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 successes.
Okay. You have exceptional hearing here, and you're very talented at picking up things that people do not actually want to be heard. My question to you is, what languages does Sybil speak formally?
Ooh, I don't think it's a lot. I think it might be, let's see, Las Vegas. She probably picked up one other one because it's in business school. That's what they tell you to do. But it's probably, I want to say French.
Okay. French honestly might help you here. Go ahead and roll an intelligence plus academics.
Oh.
I know. Yeah. It's the stat none of you have.
Yeah.
I think the only person with academics at the table is Enoch.
Yeah. 1 success.
It definitely sounds like French. It reminds you of high school. It's close. You could not discern any of the words itself or come up with what they are actually saying, but you think this might be Haitian Creole?
Oh. Yeah, okay. Sweet. All right. Then if everyone is gone, or at least all of the threats are gone, then she's going to start looking for more bags.
There are at least 3 more of the same matching baggies in this room. And go ahead and give me a wits plus investigation to see if you can find anything else in the house.
Wits, investigation. 2, 3 successes.
3 successes. We'll attribute successes to baggies. You find 3 more baggies.
Nice.
So that, it puts us at what total?
I have the one from before, the 2 pouches, and the 3 that I just found, so 6.
Okay, so 6 total. And then Alphonse himself has found 3. So at the grand total, you guys are sitting at 9. So let me do some quick math. Okay. Yeah. This might change some things for your actions in the episodes that have already happened, but where's the fun if I don't give you things? So we'll discern this in just a moment. Okay, so you found the many pouches. You've collectively combined 9 pouches of dust between the two of you, and you've effectively murdered quite a few individuals in this house. The firearms calls have been pretty damn loud today. Shotguns have gone off, assault rifles, some machine guns wild silenced, and 9mm, all in the same house in the same, we'll say 5-10 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
What's the plan as you guys have found everything you can in this house?
I think immediately, I don't think Sybil's ever stopped counting the minutes. So she knows they have about 2 or 3 to get whatever else needs to be collected and get the fuck out. So she starts clear, like, let's go, let's get out.
He follows dutifully. He is still that level of calm. It's as though, he's walking through a mall on a Saturday. This is nothing to him. And he even does so as you're hurrying him, almost to a frustrating point for Sybil, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
But he does sort of smile as you're ushering the plan together. Is there anything to be done with the woman on the couch? It does not seem as though he's paid any mind to her. She's still very much alive. She's still very much drugged out.
I want to move her.
Okay. Where's she going?
I think she's going... I'm gonna put her just outside of the house.
Mm-hmm.
I just want it to seem like she was not in the house at all during that. Like, if she has a witness statement to give, it's not reliable already because of drugs, but it would have just been sounds. It wouldn't have been any sights. So I want to just put her like half a block down the street, if possible. And that's
As you're prepping her down half a block, there is something that rumbles throughout your veins and sits right there in the brow, right there where that beak began to form, where that cowl began to sit. And it's almost like it's pooling in that vitae that sits there in that pocket. And it's a voice you've become very familiar with. It's one that you like to quash whenever you hear. But it does speak up. We could take her back to Ladislav, use her to climb, to become an apex predator. We could be bigger. We could show survival, importance, usefulness.
Doesn't have anything to do with her, though.
Alphonse is looking on from the street. He does not look too plussed over the situation, but is watching very intently as you move yourself over this corpse, and that voice picks up again. This has everything to do with her. This is about us. This is about what Teresa wanted, what we want, what we want. We want to be the best, the biggest. You felt it in there. We want to be free. We should fly.
She puts her in the truck.
Okay.
In the van.
She is tossed into the back of the paneled circus van, which now seems so very conspicuous next to the meth house as all of these police sirens begin to fly into Las Vegas, and it paints this unorthodox scene of this bloodied, destroyed house full of the dead, of the remnants of what you left, countered against the happy clowns that dance along the funhouse shuttle. But you pull yourself out into the night, you drive away. Alphonse is back sitting in his front row seat, legs kicked up, and that drugged out woman is where he sat before at the back of the shuttle. He does not even make mention to her existence. It seems as though he doesn't actually care. So, are you starstruck?
She wipes the blood from her face. Yeah, I think I am. I don't know what I expected, but it was exhilarating.
Good. You held yourself well. I was very impressed.
Thank you. That's...
There is one last matter, and then you said maybe it bought me 15 minutes?
Right, which we've already spent.
Of course. We could go and take care of that matter and then be 15 more minutes late.
What time is it?
You know that your meeting should have happened. You're probably still in line to be about 15 minutes late to the meeting itself, and it is about 12:30 at night.
That's so much traffic. There's so much traffic at 12:30 at night.
You're thinking about traffic right now?
I'm thinking traffic could give us this 15 minutes.
Good. So if he first takes you to an ATM outside of a 7-Eleven about a block away that he has to direct you to. It's clear he memorized these distances himself, as if like he looked it up on Map Finder or like Google Maps and then committed it to memory from the address he had on his Nokia. And he's absolutely a backseat driver, telling you exactly what lane to get into, where you should be to make the left-hand turn that he needs, and eventually you arrive in that 7-Eleven. And he walks up to this ATM, and rather than like accessing an account or anything, he does indeed put his card in. He then removes the card, goes to the side, and pulls what is essentially like a panel in one of the electric boxes next to it, and then rips it free from the wall, reaches in, and then cascades it to the right in some sort of a physical maneuver, and then replaces the box back on top. And the ATM pops itself open like a safe to a certain extent. He reaches in with this well, he just starts stuffing things in his pockets, shuts it back behind, repeats the process in reverse, and then walks back to the shuttle itself. Stepping into the threshold of the bus shuttle doors, he sits back into that front row seat. He says, you can drive wherever is the least amount of people unless you like an audience. And then he begins to count. And he sets into one seat. Let me see. He sets into one seat a pretty big stack of money. That is in various bills. It's not entirely in 100s. It seems as though he had to make the change itself. If you take any time to, and eventually you will, you find that he has left you one half, and that half amounts to $22,500.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
This is for the baggies.
That's my half for this.
I told you, it's good work.
Mm-hmm.
This is just starting in the city money, if you're ever interested in running again.
Yeah, I'll absolutely keep you in mind.
I hope so.
Is that the phone that I would be reaching you on? That?
He takes it and just sort of hands it over to you.
Yeah, I'll figure this out. And she texts herself on his phone.
Okay, do you create a contact for yourself?
Yes, but she, I mean, I guess Sybil's fine.
So
yeah,
you put in Sybil.
Yeah.
And you notice as you're putting in your contact list and you're ensuring that it's correct. It's those old contact lists where you kind of have to scroll through just to find any of the information. So you create Sybil, then you have to scroll through to Sybil, then put in the number and so on and so forth. But you notice you are the only actual name in the contact list. There is A, B, AC, AD, so on and so forth until it fills through all letters of the alphabet in alphanumerical form, basically. It looks probably this contact list, from the sheer amount it takes for you to get to your own name, he's probably got between 300 and 400 people in this phone. And all of them only labeled by their initials.
Okay. Well, then instead of Sybil, she puts SG because she respects a pattern.
Okay.
And then, casually, with 20 grand next to her, heads to Slow.
Of course. Whatever happens between them happens between, and we arrive at Ladislav's with Alphonse. You all park in the parking lot to the Stratosphere, and you wait patiently for what you know is a message to come through to your cell phone. Once you have sent through the message itself, there is a contact within the Stratosphere that you inform every time that you parked in the structure itself. So after sending off this message, you finally get one back informing you to report to a section of that garage where there is sort of load in and load out for the Stratosphere itself. And that also correspond with some of the emergency tunnels that go into the Stratosphere. And so as you're parked into that garage area, an individual you know of and have worked with in the past comes out and escorts you into the proper parking space. And then these big garage bay doors begin to open, and you drive through them with Alphonse into what is essentially like a almost like a storage elevator or a stock elevator with those big like wooden sidings rather than actual walls. And it begins to descend below the Stratosphere itself. And the Stratosphere Tower is above you, reaching into one of the highest man-made structures in the United States of America, piercing in through the sky. And while some folks are up on the roller coaster that sits at the top of that sky tower in the center of Vegas, shining with neon, you are descending below. It is a familiar feeling, one that you felt both in your human life and in your undead one, that you are entering the bowels of the Stratosphere. And even more so, you are gathering yourself into the circulatory system. That shipping elevator cascades down with the Circus shuttle in tow. And eventually, after what is maybe 10 floors, it stops and empties itself out into what is a guarded hallway with two individuals on the other side of the exit to the elevator. It is only built for individuals. Your car would not fit in this pathway. And you understand that this is the sort of push through to the circulatory system proper. This is the commons area, essentially.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that's the end of the drive.
Hey,
Up we go.
well,
Or down we go.
it was worth my time. Thank you for driving.
Anytime.
I have your number now. And he picks up the Nokia. I'll be in contact if you want.
I do.
Okay. And the two of you exit. The two armed guards at the center are carrying what are traditional rifles. And you can always recall a certain glow to the magazine that they carry on the rifles themselves. The hallway that you're sort of stepping into and in front of these two guards with has been completely painted red. The sort of red that is like reminiscent of the Golden Gate's glaring crimson red bridge. The same sort of effect is done here. The individuals are wearing black suits on black shirts, on black ties, and then are ran in with these ornate ballistic black masks that look like just a vacuum for eyes and a mouth. very much catered to. It seems as though someone has designed this uniform specifically for them. And on their lapel, there is a little, almost enameled pin of a blood drop. The blood drop itself sitting on the lapel of that jacket. Is there any decorum here? Or what's this look like as Sybil steps off the shuttle with Alphonse?
This is probably the first time in a while that she's been on the other side of, like, I guess the class line for the Cirque. And considering the past 20 to 30 minutes she had, she's very much feeling herself as she walks in with Alphonse.
The two guards do not even blink as they see you. It's clear they were prepped ahead that you would be the one delivering this individual. Instead, one of them instructs you of the hallways to take and instructs you to go down the main pike towards the back center of the cells and then take the elevator all the way up. And so after this direction, you're sent through these splits, and you can see there are hallway after hallway after hallway going left and right and left and right. And you're familiar with these from your time as a human, as a blood doll, because there is a cobweb of structures down here underneath the strat. And it's designed that way specifically to confuse. And it is some of the most confusing aspects of being a blood doll, is never knowing exactly what part of the world you're in. You have these memories fled through you of being doped up and left bagged over your head and then dragged through these tunnels and then pushed around in them and basically escorted by all of these armed, powerful individuals to whatever whim they would have you. You stayed in a different cell each time. You were taken to a different place each time, a new customer, a new victim, a new gather of girls, a new dereliction, a new ordinance between all of you to perform for that other person. But now you're given set instructions. You avoid the splintered paths and you are given the main pike. And stepping forward, Alphonse behind you in that relaxed way that he follows like a dutiful guard dog. You all move into this main commons and you are presented with what is this long, rectangular, maybe cylindrical passage that runs the length of the stratosphere. It is as large as the stratosphere tower. It is as wide, and it sits uniquely underground. And on either sides of these walls in 3 tiers are these see-through plexiglass bulletproof viewings into the cells of living blood dolls. There are hundreds of people that are kept down in these cages, stepping out into the loud concrete underneath the click of your flats that have been broken through from tonight's battle. You are subjected to all of these, what you now realize, but you never could have as a blood doll, all of these two-way mirrors. Of these windows into cells that were empty, darkened walls for you, but now you realize were like pet store viewing areas for the kindred. And you can see that there is a level of like extremely extravagant restaurant level seating that sits along the main pike that runs the whole way through. So think of this main pathway as tiered up above, where there are resting areas and conversation pits and booths and seated waiters and staff and blood dolls that are cascaded through on shackles and restraints and given off to visiting kindred that run the whole length. And you imagine that sitting now in these seating areas that are given like full view of these human aquariums, there must be maybe 75, 80 kindred that you have no idea of in this room alone, meaning that The circulatory system is maybe housing the most kindred in all of Las Vegas at any given time. Not all of them natives, but all of them here, dining. You can hear occasionally the sound of screaming dolls as a vampire gets especially hard with one of its subjects and leaves the idea of societal kindred and becomes beast, taking what they want from people who have no choice. Or some do. You remember dolls like this. Some of them chose their fate. Some of them wanted to be here. Some of them love it. But you can never discern whether that was by choice or by the nature of the blood. How is Sybil feeling as she's opened up into this huge arcade, this galley, this art-curated experience of the suffering living?
I think it's nauseating. I think there's a part of her that is like, congratulations that you made it here, because most of the dolls there won't. But it is also like, I mean, what is there to congratulate? This is terrible. You thought you were at the bottom of hell, surprised there's more. And she is, again, different than with Alphonse, because it was like, it's violence, it's fine. But this is another time where she has to find something else to focus on. And right now it is looking professional.
Right. Well, in the interest of looking professional, you continue your way down the main pike, and it is a long walk, hundreds of feet, maybe 2 football fields before you reach the central intersection of the main pike, and then another 2 before you reach the elevators. But you continue to walk, and Alphonse, much different than the way he was looking up at the neon, is taking in the sights here among the dolls. He does not necessarily look in agreement, but he has that same sort of neutrality he does to everything, although he is caught about 100 feet in, staring at one of the cells itself, and begins to even move into the seating area and get as close to the human aquarium as he can for a moment.
I think I'm gonna join him and just be silent next to him for a moment, and ask, what do you think of all this?
For a time, I thought it was unruly, dehumanizing, and I thought it was against what I am. But then I considered when I was a boy and they would walk you out to the livestock farms and they would show you the tunnel by which the cows are fed through. And you start to wonder if we haven't always been like this. What about you?
Humans love to design a system. And I think this is not evidence of the violence or the power of kindred, but what happens when humans can design any system they'd like with all the time that they want and all the greed that they want. It's an achievement, but it is... I don't think I have the word for it. And I think she almost looks like she could cry. But I think that looks different now.
I think that while he has no issue being intimate with Sybil, he doesn't offer it here. Instead, he stands as close as he can, almost shoulder to shoulder with her shorter form. And he speaks plainly, but it takes him a while to bring himself to actually say it. He says, back home, my mother, my Teresa.
Hmm.
She said that we are what happens when humanity goes unchecked. And I think that we are cursed to know that every day, with no way for fixing ourselves, but every way of fixing them. And he gestures to the woman on the other side of this plexiglass who is sitting in the cell herself, staring at another male blood doll across the corner. They have no communication from each other, but they're just staring at each other intently. Something that you remember feeling yourself as this half-dazed, doped-up desperation that came from not knowing where you were, not knowing what you were doing, not knowing what was next, but understanding that this was the worst thing that ever happened to you, despite having no context. And Alphonse just sort of stands with you for a moment.
Being fixed means understanding how dark it gets. If that's true, then I think you're right.
You say you will be the top one day. When you are the top, does this continue?
She says it so quietly, because I don't think it's ever been said out loud before this moment, but I will rid the earth of this if I can, but I will absolutely rid the city of it.
Okay. And whether that lands positively or negatively, Alphonse has next to no worry, and walks away from the situation as stone-faced as he entered it, as made of water as he has always been. But he does reach out and usher you with him, as if trying to keep you from having to look too long.
She gets back in the lead and heads to his office.
Good. There's a lot more movement, but eventually you arrive at the elevator itself. It is a grand scheme of things. It, against the red, matches the same exact shade, but is gilded in this, what you imagine is probably real silver. Which in kindred psychology is a message, and that message actually prevents some individuals from entering into this elevator whatsoever, but you know that Ladislav, being who he is, likes to send a message, and every single thing in this room is reeking of his style. And the silver itself is gilded, or I'm sorry, not gilded, engraved, reliefed with a message in Latin. Does Sybil speak any Latin?
Woohoo! I think because she is a Tumblr girly, there is a basic level of Latin. Because we all had a supernatural phase.
Of course. If you would like, I will send it to you, and you can sort of keep that with you for information later. But go ahead and give me an intelligence plus, let's call this a cult, because I think that's the closest thing to Tumblr possible.
Fair.
So intelligence plus occult to see if you can find some sort of loose English translation.
It's one success.
One success. You think that for the most part, it probably means through the blood, we find the answer.
Okay. That makes sense. She's gonna save that in her heart for later. And keep it pushing.
Now, contrary to the many times that you've been to the Sunset Hospital to see Emmerich and to be a part of that world back when you were a human, at this elevator there are no amount of armed guards. There are plenty patrolling through the proper itself of circulatory system, and it's clear that the snipers are still in place, something you were acutely warned of when you were a blood doll. Knowing that the folks from the top tiers are pressed on with rifles and ensure that if anything does go awry, that those glowing bullets are used in excess against those that would remark against the circulatory system. But here, there's nothing. The elevator is not protected, or at least it doesn't seem as though. It has this rolled out black carpeting that allows you in, and it has a single button to call for. And it just reads in scripted silver script L.
L.
Yeah.
There we go.
You hit the button. You both join in on the elevator. It begins to play this beautiful, beautiful classical music, some sort of arrangement of a very large orchestra that has been pared down. And you can tell that in some sort of a language from Eastern Europe, I'm not sure which, it begins by invoking Ladislav's name. Ladislav Zabo is said out loud from the recording in some sort of monologue, and then the music begins past that. So imagine it's almost like a radio lead-in to the script that is being played, and whether that is Laszlo welcoming you to his abode, or Slow using that as a way of introducing whatever this piece is, who knows, but it seems to be in some form of Polish and is introducing the piece itself. The elevator goes higher than you went lower with your vehicle, and it begins to feel a little disconcerting, a little disheartening, but eventually it does empty out into this huge, huge hall. Imagine like a penthouse suite that has been doubled in size. There are no windows out of anywhere, obviously, because we are still underground, but it is immaculately conceived. There are these massive draped teal curtains that run the length of the room, not unlike the teal that he was wearing the day that you all met him in Elysium in the future, obviously. But in the center of those drapes is this glorified throne, essentially, this meeting desk that sits in the center. And he sits behind in this tall-necked chair in ornate, beautiful brown cherry wood. Or more of a walnut, I should say, like a very ornate, carpentered seat. And there is more of that classical music. Whatever speaker is playing out of the elevator pours out into the room itself as you arrive. And there's this beautiful played out runner carpet that runs up to his seating area. There's a lovely dining table off the right that looks like it would be the most immaculate place to eat in the world. There's this glass table that underneath has some sort of painting that lines the whole bottom of it. The painting is very morbid for sitting at. It is like men and women that are blindfolded but are having like pieces of their body removed and then prepared. They're tied in like barbed wire brambles that then lead out to like religious iconography. Some of them hold crosses, others hold reliquaries. There's a priest at the center of it all. It looks as though people have been prepared as a ritual for like almost in sacrifice. But this lands as a tapestry that runs along maybe a 12-foot table. and then these high back chairs that match behind it. And then there are additional rooms to the left-hand side. The whole room is just immaculate and catered exactly to who Zabo has always been. But Slow is sitting there with this beautiful chalice in his hand that is filled with red vitae blood, whatever it may be, in his cup. And he is gently listening to that music and does not look very, he doesn't look very bothered by your presence or anything. In fact, it's as though he's picked himself up from the music to realize that you're there. Either way.
She walks in and then like steps to the side so that Alphonse can sort of be his own evidence. And just honestly, I don't think she feels like she can say anything. So just like, here we are. Here's what you wanted. What do you want?
Okay. Alphonse looks to you like in a way that says goodbye without actually saying it, because it seems as though whatever business between the two of you has come to a close here as he's made his way to Slow, and he begins to walk his way down the runner. And Slow finally picks himself up and stands, and you realize that both of these two individuals are very tall, Slow being just a few inches above Alphonse's height himself, but sort of crouched over in his age. Again, think of Slow as like he almost looks like an aged David Bowie type of long angled individual with these high cheekbones and a narrow face. Conventionally handsome. He probably could have modeled when he was younger, but now he is aged into this fine sort of vintage wine of a person. And he is dressed in these like ornate, beautiful, almost like pajama quality materials that cascade across him in all of these robed like feelings. And he steps himself out from the desk, and he very spryly moves out into the center. He has this walk about him that just radiates charisma. And he comes out and he extends out his hand before Alphonse. And they begin speaking at a whisper enough that from the distance between you and the room, it's clear that they're enjoying each other, but it ends here. And he takes Alphonse's hand, kisses it, and then moves aside from Alphonse to address you directly. It is so good to see you again, Sybil. You are looking just lovely in this light. I trust that Alphonse did not give you any trouble?
Not at all.
This pleases my heart. I so appreciate the things that you do for the circulatory system. It is not gone unnoticed.
Thank you.
Good. Sybil, before you go too, I would like to discuss with you an opportunity after Alphonse is left, yes? Do you mind just flitting about? Go and see the museum, have a look at some of my pieces, and then you and we will talk.
Of course. I'll find something to do.
Of course. And he moves and he takes Alphonse and takes him over into this sort of seated recreation area in the corner that looks much more like a conversation area than anything else. And you do notice that off to your left in an additional archway is sort of this gallery, like a museum, a place of these displayed in items that run across everything. You spend some time in there waiting for Alphonse and his meeting to end. Inside, some interesting things you find. There is what Slow has labeled as the heart of the Asimite, and it is an actual removed heart that sits underneath a display case. In this sort of jarred sort of accoutrement, and it reads under the display that it was believed in ancient times that if you remove the heart of an Asimite, it did not destroy the body, instead bid them to your beck and call. Excuse me. And then under that, he's written in his own sort of script. This, of course, is not true, but it is an excellent specimen. There are all sorts of other sort of fantastical items that you spend yourself with. Nothing quite as terrifying as the heart itself underneath the display case, but you see some paintings that he did originally by himself, and they are shockingly similar to that sacrificial tapestry that sits underneath the table itself. And there are maybe 6 more of them where it is just bizarre. There's one where a woman at the lower half becomes a cockroach and is battling another man who is at the top of himself become a beetle. And there are other ones that are a man whose hands become fire and he burns his childhood home down. And his parents are inside. And it's easy enough to depict these things. And they run across like a whole wall where it's clear that Slow became obsessed with this depiction of casual tragedy, of personal human tragedy. And he plays a lot with the transformation of humans, the transformation of beauty. All of these subjects are beautiful and are becoming ugly in his eyes. During all of that, there is a conversation between him and Alphonse. And finally, you can see Alphonse gives you a wave as he moves towards the elevator. And then he taps where his Nokia phone sits on his side, and then gets into the elevator himself. Probably the only communication allowed in front of Slow like this.
Yeah.
But that's what you get. And then Slow joins you in the museum, standing right next to you as you're both looking up at this peculiar depiction of the woman cockroach and the male beetle.
This might be mean, but I think she's just going to straight up ask, before I ask, are you familiar with Bosch? Are these paintings referencing Bosch?
I think I'm familiar with Bosch. Let me make sure that we're talking about the same person.
He's a painter, and he has these hellish paintings. Hieronymus Bosch is his name.
Oh, yes, absolutely Hieronymus Bosch, yes.
Okay, good.
It is 100% Hieronymus. It's almost like he's derivative of Hieronymus. Like he could be accused of being just absolutely copying what Hieronymus does.
That's what I was going to ask him, is who came first, you or Bosch?
That would be showing my age, no? Some of these things are inspired in both ways. When great artists work around the same time, one feeds into the other. Mm-hmm. And the muse is made in the shared competition. Don't you agree?
I do.
I became enamored with the idea of what we consider to be macabre becoming what is beautiful. Because years from now, when you and I have met Ash, there will come something new. But the kindred curse will still live. And in that new world, what is it that you and I find worth keeping?
I'm new to this eternity thing, as you know. So I have no idea.
Yes. Well, I suppose if we continue to live to amass worlds such as the one that you and I find ourselves in now, we will find the answer. Unless, of course, you play yourself foolish, and you end up like the rest. Ash at the bottom of our feet. But, Sybil, you have proven yourself to be anything but foolish. I gave you what is an insult. I gave you hell. I gave you little circus ship in the world to sail around in it. The ruler of clowns you are, yes?
Yes.
But sometimes you give children salt instead of sugar, just to see if they speak out against you for doing so. But you, ever polite at the dinner party, continue to eat.
Without speaking too out of turn or being inappropriate, I don't think there's much sugar to be given.
This is easy to see. I understand where you are coming from, and it is evident you are hurt. But there is plenty of sweet in this world, and I invite you to sup. I have an opportunity for you, Sybil, that comes in the wake of not only a favor I owed to your dear sire, Teresa, but also in the understanding that I believe I can trust you. There is to be a continuation of the truce that was made between two of the highest powers in this city. But in order for that to happen, there must amass a team of individuals that have no stake in either claim. And with no sire to speak of, no place in this world outside of behind the little bus wheel, you find yourself at the bottom of it all. You want to be loyal to our tower, yes?
Of course.
Of course. This is where you begin. You will join with a group of other untested, underdeveloped individuals, and you will lead them. You will send them into the belly of Colorado, and you will come back with whatever it is that our new prince requires. And then you will come back and report to Elysium with your success.
And the rest of these untested kindred, if I can manage myself just fine, but a bunch of other, what am I allowed to do if something goes less than ideal?
You are to be given permission to uphold the traditions of masquerade and everything under the tower itself at the fullest extent. In this mission, you are acting as my child. I have taken on the tradition of sire and child. Only under the circumstances of this endeavor. Whatever you do, I am subject to. And for as long as this mission goes on, the same will be true of myself. But that only extends until you are made true Camarilla.
And how long is that gonna take?
If you complete this, however long it takes you to come back to Las Vegas. And then you will be made an honest member. I cannot guarantee that they will not hate you for what your sire did. It is a miracle that you are left alive to begin with. A conversation I had to have many times, which resulted in your loss of dominion, we'll call it. But this would be a new slate from which you could prove yourself to. You would be beholden to I and not to her. Only in word alone. I have no intention of taking another child. I have not in century. But it is enough that I slake my name upon what you will do. I do this as much for you as I do for her. She used to sell my paintings, you know?
I didn't know that.
She had an affinity for finding the right buyer. She used to tell me that my work was, what was that word she used? Grotesque. And I do not disagree, grotesque is the word for it, but it is a beautiful word. But she had the talent for outlying those who understood what it was like to appreciate what these people become. But it wasn't just that drew me to Teresa. She did things for the blood that no others would. And as such, there is a boon to be paid. Sybil, my dear, those beautiful cheekbones, and he reaches out and he touches to your cheeks. You are that boon.
I think she takes his hand and squeezes it just a little, and it's like she's not gonna bow, but that is the equivalent of showing deep gratitude. This is more than I was preparing for, so I thank you. I won't fail.
I know you will not. This is why I feel enough to stake my name on it. It is not a name I give lightly. This is more so than this singular opportunity. If you continue your habit of proving yourself, there's plenty of room in the circulatory system. A position that was recently vacated by someone I once trusted. You do not have to consider this for now, and nor would I consider it myself. But there will come a day when you realize that the extent of power you can create yourself unwarranted reveals itself at the stopgap, and friends are needed to build the rest. And to have a friend in the blood is no small feat.
I see. And that would make us friends.
Well, sure, that would make us friends. But you understand the dynamic that is built between you and I.
Yes. No.
I have lived longer than any of these fools. I have seen sunsets in every corner that you can. I have known death like a bedfellow. And that makes me a little unapproachable. But it also means that I can do things for you if you only do them for me.
I understand.
Do you have any questions of me? While you have my ear, it is not something that is earned so lightly. This truce has benefited you a moment of grand consultation with a voice that has known 1,000,000 theaters.
What do you know about dust? Have you heard of dust?
I have. It is in direct competition with some of our rarest bloods. It is a fool's attempt at creating new rousing within the blood. It is considered a poor man's diablerie. The ashes of forgotten bodies, kindred, are mixed with the blood of the cursed generation, the filthy thin bloods that ruin our name and take from Cain's lineage whatever they like and remove the rest. But in this conglomeration, the mixing of dead friend and powerful curse, it reveals a euphoric experience for the ingester. You take it into your body and you are drifted through memories of the dead, of the kindred who passed. It is not unlike how many will describe the blood hunt ends. In diablerie, when you consume the soul of a kindred, you take on everything that they are and everything that they would have been. But in addition to that, you consume their very love, their soul, their memories. And you are gifted the experience. Sometimes they sift to the surface like echoes of the soul gone. But dust permits you all of that ability without the connection, without the power. It is a vision quest more than anything.
There's no real way to take advantage of it.
Outside of selling it to kindred junkies and hoping that no one becomes the wiser, no. There are many that have tried to employ some of the cursed generation to construct empires of selling the dead, but you must understand that this can sometimes be construed with the same act as diablerie. If Ladislav Zabo was to meet his final death tomorrow, and when Sybil Geier was to take my dust and create something out of that machination, it would draw the ire of everyone who loved me. And would be considered possibly a breach of the traditions, especially considering that dust can be consumed by mortals.
Of course. All right. I was just entertaining a thought.
You're not thinking of building empires, are you?
No.
My best advice, and it is something I said to your late sire, never build them out of sand. You need something that withstands all adherence. You need something that is built on honest product, like blood.
I think that's tough. That's a tough thing to hear. There's no point in trying to reach a level of empathy with this man about those people. So I think she just agrees and says, what is the plan if someone tries to take all of this away? If there are... Oh, no, if there are always empires out of sand.
This is a unique opportunity, sitting in this room. It is an understanding that we are a part of something that cannot be broken. The difference between dust and the circulatory system is there is a person like Ladislav Zabo in every single state, principality, country, world. If we were to colonize Luna tomorrow, I guarantee you that the Zabo would be born the next day, and we would be shipping blood across its crater's surface. The greatest defense to the loss of my opportunity is the understanding that the heads of the Hydra prevent the first from being lost before it ever comes close. It is all about constructing an empire that is so essential to everyone involved, victim, supplier, and creator, that if one were to go against the other, everyone else would pile. I am so important that the second that anyone tries to go against me, there is an all-out war against their existence. Because you are in the way of business. And I have found a way to be business. You need to create something that is involved in all facets.
I see.
I'm glad.
Then I will. I don't know what that looks like, but this new group is an opportunity.
It is. Do be careful with them. Some of them have been plucked from the other side, we shall say. And if they are to pledge themselves to the Anarchs, they are no friend of you.
See, okay, because and I think this is the professionalism drops a little bit. This is difficult because okay. I'm understanding the picture a little bit better now. That if they don't understand the tower for what it is, and they are no friends of mine. Keeping the treaty, of course. They will be separated.
If that is your word for making them meet the final death, sure. Separated. Separated head from body. I joke.
Okay.
I understand it cannot be as indelicate as that, but I tell you this plainly. I have come to be where I am because I have made sure that every snake capable of biting in my room at least is shackled.
Okay.
The same went for your sire, unfortunately. And that is why, in her absence, I remain unhurt.
Okay. Then I don't believe I have any other questions.
Then I believe that you are free to go. You were requested, though. One of the newly made VIPs have requested that you play escort to their drop-off. She has just recently be elevated to the highest tier of doll. There has been a shocking development with a certain fascination for her. But her name, and he picks himself up and he moves over back into the main foyer and goes back to his desk, and he plucks his finger down to these pages and he goes, when you have been alive as long as I have, the mind slips like sieve with baking powder. Her name is Alma. Do you know this woman? She asks escort of you.
Yes, I know her. She's
What is your relationship And he looks suddenly very calculating.
She's... Well, I knew her before. I guess we survived together, but overall impressions are she's extremely capable and good at her job.
I see.
Can I ask the person who requested her?
It was Primogen Emmerich of the Malkavian. Your former stay, when you were adult. He's taken a liking to her. I don't know why, but he is, well, as you know, one of our highest paying customers.
And how is he?
As sick as always, which is to say sick in the head.
Good.
If you'd like, I could give Alma off to another driver.
No, it's fine. I'll take her.
Sure. Well, then I believe our business has come to an end.
Good night.
Yes, of course. Just a moment. And he comes around the desk. He comes up to you. And with your permission, if you don't do anything against it, he goes to kiss both cheeks. And you can feel him close up on you. And he smells fantastic, but it is an invading presence as he lingers just long enough. And he holds your cheeks for a moment, just looking at you, really taking you in as if he's trying to memorize everything that you are for a moment, and then breaks his hands. I think tonight I will paint. Our conversation has made something of me. And then he flets you away.
She gets the fuck out.
Okay, very good. You leave your meeting with Ladislav, the elevator door is shutting behind you, and I'm sure you flap quite a bit inside of the elevator trying to fight off the
Screams.
The scaries. Yeah.
Okay.
And the elevator goes back down to the main pike. You know they'll probably load up Alma in your shuttle if you're still in location, and since you've already told Ladislav that you're going to do so. So if you'd like, you could leave right now and be on your way to Emmerich's.
Yeah, I think she gets out. And if Alma's already in the van, I think, because this is probably the first time they've seen each other since she's been embraced, she opens the van door, the back seat, with the physicality of I'm going to hug you because I haven't seen you, but also remembers that things are different and waits first.
As you come through to the other side, you can tell that she's already sort of drugged through. She has that anesthetic in her body. It's something they still do even at the highest level. You're familiar with that, of making things easier, transport and all that, before the kiss has taken place and made the act of being a blood doll euphoric. But even she looks absolutely elated to see you. She stands herself up and she gets real wobbly on the way up. She starts to lose herself and fall back into the seat, but she calls out, "You're just Sybil. Oh my God, it's so good to see you." And that's about as far as she gets before she starts falling back into her chair.
You don't have to get up, and she comes towards her and just hugs her.
She hugs straight back. They told me you were gone. They never said you'd be coming back. I didn't think I'd ever see you again. We never went out on another run. I thought you were dead or something.
Well, yeah. No, I'm here. I'm still here. And you're still here.
How'd you get out? Why are you here? Why'd you come back?
I'll be the one taking you tonight.
What do you mean? I asked to see you. What do you mean you're taking me?
I'm driving you to where you are supposed to go.
You're one of them?
That's how I got out.
She looks shocked and falls back into that seat. And she looks at you with this new glaze over her eyes and just starts...
It's not the same. It's not the same. I don't do this. I don't want any of this. You don't have to worry about me ever making this.
Doing it, right?
Well, it's necessary for now. But it's not. I don't want any of this. If it were up to me, then none of this would even be here. But
there's a flash in your mind of picking up that girl from the dust house earlier today, packing her in the shuttle and shipping her into this room, and the words start to feel hollow, like ashed food in your mouth as you're explaining how you're not a part of this. She looks at you. You promise you're not with them?
Not sincerely. I'm just covering bases until I can be on my own, but I'm not strong enough for that yet.
She rushes and throws her arms around your neck and just falls into you, just to be held.
And she holds her.
She has not eaten in days, you're guessing. Rail thin, you can already feel her ribcage against you. She is sick, you think. Something around the eyes, they're dark and shadowed, and she has this rasping breath against you, and she has been through quite a bit. And you remember what this feels like, to be in and out of whatever this is.
I think she pulls her back and runs her hands over almost like hair, just pushing her hair back. Mm-hmm. We can't do much, but I don't know. Do you need anything to eat? It doesn't have to be the way it always is with me.
Could I? And she looks down at your wrists.
Oh.
He gave it to me last time, and God, it was the only time I ever felt full.
There's nothing else I can do.
Please, Sybil. I've missed you so much. Please do this for me.
Okay. Yeah. And she... Damn, she offers her wrist. Damn. Yeah. Just... Sure. But be quick about it.
There is a quickness to it, and we won't go into detail on how that all happens, but she absolutely partakes, and already she looks fresher. She looks more alive. The rasp in her begins to fade away, and for that brief moment, it's like your curse really is a gift, because there's a light in her eyes that begins to fight the anesthetic, and she becomes even more like herself just for those first few blissful minutes after taking in your vitae. And she hugs you deep, and she just stays there in your arms for a while until you start to feel the minutes clicking by.
Okay, well, we're gonna be, it's gonna be worse if you're late, so.
Okay. You're gonna come by more, right? You could be my driver. If they let you have me once, they'll let you have me again, right?
I will, as much as I can, be here for you, I will.
Okay. And you're gonna get me out like you got out?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll get you out.
Okay.
It'll be okay.
Okay. Another huge hug around you.
Now, have you... Where you're going, you've never been there before, have you?
This will be my first time. I met him here And he seemed okay. That's when he gave me his blood. But all the other girls said, I don't know, what am I walking into?
He's weird. And like the rest of them. And then she realizes them is wrong. Is very, very strong. And does not drink for the beauty of drinking, but for the fun of force as well.
Oh, God. She looks petrified now, thinking of whatever this is going to be on the other side.
It ends, you survive, but it is especially memorable.
Okay. If you could do it, then I'm going to try to.
Okay. Good. You do whatever it takes to get out of there. Keep living so I can get you out.
I'll keep living.
Okay. Good. And she gets in the front seat and drives.
The clown car takes the 10 floors up back to the streets and driving out onto the strip, out towards North Vegas where that forgotten hospital is. It's as though the shuttle had never left real life. You are in amongst traffic again. You are in amongst people again. The drunk idiots of the strip and everything that comes with being in Las Vegas. You can hear the city again. See it. See it for the big bright lights that Alphonse was so enamored with. And you're back out and alive. I assume you go to drop off Alma at Emmerich's?
Yeah.
That goes smoothly? Do you walk her all the way up to the elevator, or is it a situation where you park out in the parking lot and can't bring yourself to move any further?
I think she walks her to the door, but is still outside. And like hold hands, just like fully is publicly with this person.
Right. I think there's a fierce goodbye.
Yeah.
A huge hug. But the understanding that you will not be the exit ticket. Probably not for another night, a few nights.
Yeah.
There is still time in this night. If there's anything else you'd like to accomplish as you drop off Alma.
I want to very quickly, do I think I know where my dad would be at this time?
Your dad is an absolute creature of habit. He is probably done working Sam's Town for the night. There's no doubt about it, actually, being 1 o'clock in the morning, essentially 1:30 in the morning. He is in his studio apartment in Boulder, just between Las Vegas and Henderson, about 10 minutes from where you are now, 15 minutes. And he is probably either asleep on the couch, having watched reruns of Jeopardy, or he is asleep in his bed, ready for the next day of work.
Then I think she goes to that apartment and checks on him. And is just watching.
Okay. It is the same Oldsmobile out there in the parking lot. It is the same studio apartment. It is the same portrait of your mother on the nightstand. It is still your father in there, exactly how you imagine him. Just a little older than the last time you saw him. But that's in the state of seeing your parents. You start to notice the wrinkles a lot more, especially when you're dead, especially when you understand that he's never actually going to see you again. Will only ever be like this, you watching from the corner of his studio apartment. Sometimes in the darkness here, while you're making sure not to rustle any noise or to knock over the TV dinner he had for dinner that night or to disturb anything in that apartment, you wonder what it would be like for him to wake up and find you there. And you consider whether he would think you were an intruder or a monster or some bird stalking his corpse.
I think if there's anything that is clearly, she's not going to disrupt anything that he would notice, but if there is something like a dent in his car, she's going to basically fix it. Or anything like that would require ridiculous amount of force for this old man to have to fix. She will fix it.
In removing the dent from his car, real beat up old, a car probably should have been replaced 5 to 10 years ago, but it's just kept going.
Yeah.
You see that in his passenger side on the dashboard. It is a bizarre feeling, but you are looking at a missing poster for yourself. He is using what is probably a cropped Instagram photo from your old Instagram of the day that you graduated. And it is of him and you in big side-to-side embrace, and you holding that diploma and your hat that has just been thrown into the air in both hands. And you look so abundantly happy that you know your father must have picked this exclusively for being the happiest photo he could find of you, and not the most recent depiction of who you are.
Yeah. Right. Then I think with that, now that she knows that that's what they look like now, she keeps an eye out for them, and just across the board, just not only tonight, but whenever she sees those, she takes them down.
Okay.
And leaves.
Stepping out from the parking lot and bringing yourself back to the shuttle, thinking it's about time that you actually took it back to Circus's garage and called it a night for yourself, or at least a night where you get to attend to some of the things that are more for you. You get a phone call.
She answers it.
You answer it, and on the other side, in a voice you don't recognize, a very cordial, formal voice speaks up and says, hello, my name is Armand. I'm calling from Lady of the Meadow, LLC. Do you think you could take my call, please? And the memories just sack you in the chest, of business cards, of power suits, of high heels, of an office on the corner overlooking much of Las Vegas, of a beautiful woman, curly hair, and bright pale pink, and so many of these highly decored signs. Lady of the Meadow, LLC. Are you free to take our call, Miss Geier, is it?
Geier.
Geier, excuse me. Apologies. Miss Geier, are you free to take our call?
Yes, please.
Well, we were just calling because we had heard that you had a dissatisfaction with our service in the past, that you have found our service lacking, and that you feel that it's been a while since one of our attendants were out to see you. Is that right?
Yes.
Well, we're just calling as a measure of customer service to ensure that you, Sybil, feel, what's the word here? We want to make sure, Sybil, that you feel protected and watched over by Lady of the Meadow, LLC. And we wanted to let you know that we should be sending an attendant soon, within the month, to consult with you and just fill you in on the process we're taking as a company to ensure that everyone is taken care of.
Is she with you right now? Are you with her?
If you could, we're going to send you a link for a survey that we'd like you to fill out and provide your additional satisfaction with this customer service call and how you're feeling after your conversation with myself, Armand. If you could just let us know, in the comments section of that survey how you think this call went and what it is that you'd need further from Lady of the Meadow LLC. We'll get back to you, and we will send our warmest regards.
You know what? You can just tell her. You can just tell her now. I am deeply dissatisfied. I hate this. I don't know who you are. I don't understand how you are closer to her than I am right now. And quite frankly, you could fuck off, Armand. That's how I'm feeling. That's how I'm rating this conversation.
Well, I'm sensing some dissatisfaction in this customer service call, and I completely understand why you might be feeling this way. And our mission at Lady of the Meadow LLC here is to help contribute to a Las Vegas that fully understands...
I know the mission. I know the mission.
As I said before, if you could fill out the survey that we will be attaching in a text message following this call, we would very much appreciate your feedback in making Lady of the Meadow LLC the best that it can be.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you very much, and we hope that you have a great day. And it hangs up.
Oh no. Oh no.
And I believe that's where we'll leave Sybil's origin session.
Oh, no.
I don't know if we went long in comparison to the others. I'm sure we did. Who knows? But there was a lot to pack in here, okay?
I think 3 hours, right?
Yes.
We started at 8-ish.
Most definitely, yes. We shall see. But thank you all so much for being here. Zakiya, thank you so much. That was so much fun to put together. We got so much done there.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
So glad to have you here and to get an insight into Sybil and how that mind has come to be where it is and what's coming next down the pike for Sybil in the coming future. Obviously, there's a lot that's been set up here, some of which we're going to see on the larger scale for all of these members of New Generation, and even smaller there, we'll get inkling as to what's going to happen to Sybil in the future. Thank you all for watching. I hope you catch us for the next one. Next up is Mal with that whole origin story, which actually goes back to Mal playing a very human version of themselves. So I'm excited to see how much trouble we get up to there, because it becomes a lot more dangerous than any of the other origin sessions. So
that's frightening. Okay, I'm excited.
If you are interested in seeing Mal walk through their Embrace story, please keep a lookout for our next origin session. And then, of course, after that, we only have the Kingsters left, which, of course, will give you a lot of insight into what those crazy bitches are up to.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. But again, thank you everyone who donates to our Patreon, who has stayed by us for our whole series, for Vegas by Night, for everything we're doing here with the Origin Sessions. It's truly because of you guys sticking it out and watching through all of this drama that we get to tell stories like this. I was just thinking during this session how great it is that we get to have conversations on the extent of human violence and the ability to look into what we are and what decides what is a good person and who is a bad person, just because you all decided that we were worth listening to. How great this is as an opportunity. Thank you guys so much. We'll catch you on the next one. Zakiya, thank you again.
Of course, thank you. Thank everyone
right.
for watching.
Yeah, goodbye guys. You have a great night. Thank you for watching.